So I was inspired by the beautiful weather that we finally got here in Atlanta this weekend to go on a little Polaroid photo hike. So I'll be heading out to the Soap Creek Trail near the Chattahoochee River, just outside of the city of Atlanta. And with my hiking buddy Hunter still out of commission for the next few weeks. He's still recovering from his knee surgery. I'm gonna be heading out to this short hike by myself, but I'll be bringing my Polaroid camera that I just found at the thrift store not too long ago. This is the Polaroid Spirit 600 classic film camera or instant film camera. Again, I just found it at the thrift store. Still has a sticker in there. I only paid $5 for this one, so a really great find. I haven't tested this one yet, but it looks like it's in really good condition. It looks like it has barely been used by the previous owner. So I'll be testing out this camera. Great looking camera, obviously from the 80s. It has that 80s type of look. And in my opinion, this is how Polaroid cameras from the 80s should look like. Big, boxy, bulky, gray and black. Loud when you press the shutter as well. This is the classic look of a Polaroid camera from the 80s, and it also happens to be one of the most common types of Polaroid or vintage Polaroid cameras out there. This is the kind that I usually find if I find a Polaroid camera at the thrift store out there. Great looking camera again. I'll be testing out this one on this hiking trip. And as far as the film, I'm going to be using this Polaroid, just the standard black and white 600 film. You can find this one at any electronic store out there or at Amazon as well. It's the film that you use for 600 style cameras on black and white. And the reason why I chose the black and white film was because there are some old paper mill ruins at this hiking trail that I was going to check out. And I think they're going to look pretty cool with the black and white film and the Polaroid camera. So yeah, I'm going to be bringing this camera and that film, and I'll see you in the trail. Alright, so here's some of the footage from the hike. And first of all, a quick disclaimer, I completely underestimated how much light or how much sunlight I had at that point. It was about 4:30 p.m. on the afternoon or early evening, and I thought I was gonna have a little bit more light or sunlight, but in fact it was kind of, you can see a little bit of sun there, but once I got to the part of the ruins, as you'll see in a little bit, you'll see that it was almost so shady, very shadowy, very dark. So as soon as I got there, I got the feeling that maybe it wouldn't be the best kind of environment for the black and white shots that I really wanted to take. But either way, I went out there, I went on a little hike, and I checked out some of the paper mill ruins that I mentioned before. And it was pretty cool looking right next to the Soap Creek. So here's my first shot of the paper mill ruins. As you can see, a very soft kind of black and white shot on this one. You can clearly see that I didn't have enough sunlight to get that kind of like a clear contrast between the blacks and the whites. So I would say not a great shot in particular. I wanted to take a closer look at that wall with the windows that almost make the wall look like pillars or columns. And then ended up with this shot. Again, not the greatest shot, but I wanted to see how the film performed against the white or the bright sky. And I was actually surprised to see how much detail you can see there with the in the shade or in the shadow of the wall. I kept going towards the creek side of the ruins, and as you can see, the water from the creek was really flowing right here. And I ended up with this shot. And as you can see, it was very dark, so the shutter had to compensate by opening for a longer period of time, causing that kind of movement effect on the water. However, that also caused the background where the bridge is to be a little bit blurry, so not the greatest shot. And I wanted to show you this picture, even though I know it's completely underexposed. But I wanted to see how the camera and the film performed with shooting against the sun. In this kind of lighting conditions, and as you can see, the meter of the camera thought that it had plenty of light because of the sun going down, when in fact it actually was very shady and dark. So the meter shows a very fast shutter speed on this one, of course being an automatic camera, and the picture ended up completely underexposed. And for my last picture, I wanted to take a shot of higher above the view of the ruins. And this was also where I had the least amount of light, being later in the day. And this is the result. As you can see, very gray, almost no detail on this one, a little bit underexposed. And again, what happened was that the meter compensates for the lack of light with a longer shutter speed, making the picture a little bit blurry, underexposed, and gray as well. Alright, so those were my results of shooting with the vintage Polaroid Spirit 600 instant film camera and the black and white film. And as you saw, not the greatest results, but I'll put all the fault on myself. I wouldn't blame it on the camera or on the film itself. This was all my fault in shooting in such a low light environment. So my recommendation, if you're gonna shoot landscapes with an instant camera like this one, make sure that you have plenty of light. Make sure that you shoot early in the day when there's plenty of sunlight, especially if you want to get that kind of high contrast black and white image in your pictures. So again, I wouldn't blame it on the camera itself. I think these are actually pretty great cameras. And one thing that I also wanted to mention is that you can also adjust the exposure a little bit here using the exposure selector here to the left or to the right. So if you want to make the picture brighter, you can move the lever towards the right here. Or if you want to make it darker, you can pull it towards the left. So that will help a little bit, but note that these are still almost fully automatic cameras, so there's this much that you can do. So this will help a little bit in making your pictures at least show something in very low light situations. But if you don't have that much light, your pictures are still going to end up a little bit underexposed. So make sure that you note that if you go out there and shooting the Spirit 600 out there. But that's about it. I'm gonna have to go back into another hike one of these days with this same camera and a new pack of film, because I'm gonna have to try it out on better lighting conditions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.